Hey everyone, this is Snark with Snark's Domain, and we got a special card here today. This is a Radeon 7. Currently got it apart. I also took the radiator off, fully cleaned it. Ooh, I've got that upside down. Yeah. There we go. I'll make it easier to recognize the card. This thing's like... This is a well-built cooler. Well, I like it. I'm sure there's been improvements, but for like a straight 2-slot card, vapor chamber, these heat pipes go in and connect with the vapor chamber on the back. I'm sure they're soldered on, and then you've got basically, let's see if I can pop it out here. This radiator. Now, okay. I was just saying it's a great design. It's got a couple flaws for sure. There's no pass-through at all, right? They've got all the space blocked off. If I was... I'm trying to think. Yeah, I would have cut Sorry, I would have cut all those things away in there had them been able to like vent out a little bit better. And even slightly cool the PCB. It would just help airflow where it could like vent out at a 45 rather than being forced just this way. So the air can only go two directions, up, down. Really, it's not going back, not with the grill designed like this. They could have done directional fins starting realistically here, pointing this way. Then again, with those heat pipes going all the way back, yeah, I think it could have just been slightly adjusted. And then up here it could have been forward facing. But either way, it's a pretty neat little card. I say little because compared to the cards we get nowadays, this thing just fits in like a nice tight space. Really. So, yeah. It's a piece of history. Just gonna make sure I'm not catching the cord. Yeah, that's gonna work. Okay, so there's like a couple pieces to this. So obviously we have the PCB, there's the fan shroud, the cold plate and radiator fins, but then we've also got this guy here, which I have to line up properly. And you gotta like, I'm just gonna grab tweezers here. There's two cables that have to be pulled through. But then this basically, shift this way a little bit. That pops down like that. So it kind of like sandwiches the cooler into the shroud, and then there's just 4 super tiny screws that hold it in place. And these cords are really short, so it's makes it hard to reconnect the card later on. Also, there's no, well, there's thermal pads that go on the card for some of the VRM, but they only connect to this aluminum intermediate plate. There's no thermal interface material between that and the actual cold plate, and we're gonna change that. We're gonna give it a little bit more. Well, we're gonna give it some actual thermal contact with the thermal putty between there. Sorry, I just realized I was touching the areas that we're gonna have putty on them in a bit. But yeah, so we're gonna do a couple things here to this card and try and help it along. We're gonna put a little bit of putty between this intermediate plate and the cooler. Probably the easiest way to do that is to... Ooh. I could just trace out the lines. Should be able to clean this up later. We're gonna go... Okay, there. We'll do a little bit there. Why not? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I feel like this little guy here also deserves some attention. Just gonna do this roughly, and I'll wipe these off later. Okay. So those are where we want to have putty. I'm just going to exaggerate these. Don't worry, we're gonna clean all this stuff off. I just need something to use as a visual guide. I don't like how that's streaking. How are we going to do this? If I want to get it clean, we're just going to have to wing it. That's what we're going to have to do. Simple as that. We'll just wing it. I'm going to try these makeup swab removers out. I think I saw a few people using them, but either way, I looked at them and I'm like, that might work good for, and it does. It's nice and soft. Okay, I'm gonna get gloves on for this next part. Alright, I'm just gonna set the PCB away for now. We don't need that just yet. And I'll close up the isopropyl. Alright. Okay, so this is going to go like this. So we're just going to apply putty to the back plate. And we are going to use Halnziye 256. It's got the, oh, I've got the autofocus turned off because, yeah, I was just figuring it was going to be easier for some stuff. Hopefully you guys are having a good Saturday evening or night. Sorry, I keep seeing little specks that look like they could have been metallic, and I don't want to deal with any shorting issues, so it's like the same one or two that keep moving around. I think I got it this time. Alright, let's get rolling some of this stuff. So this putty, the reason why I'm selecting it is it's reasonably high performing, and it is super soft. And I could have used some of the experimental Upsiren putty, I suppose, but I wanted to not use any more of that. I want to be able to retain that for testing. So, yeah, that's why we're using this stuff. And I'm just gonna go with a pretty small little rope. Now, that's gonna go like that. And this will kind of go. Doesn't have to be perfect, right? We're adding something that didn't previously exist, so this is, it's going to be an improvement no matter what. I hope. Right. Maybe maybe it won't extend the life of the card, but yeah, if you can cool something a little bit better than it was, why not? Okay, that's that one. And then we'll just do little tiny ropes in a few other spots. And if there's extra putty that squishes out, we can just scrape up whatever we can see. So 1, 2, 3. There's that one there. This stuff is so soft it might actually be. Hey, Philip Carroll, how's it going? You're the first one to the stream, buddy. Ooh, I almost put that in the wrong spot. I think it goes here. Yeah, they're nice cards. They're not great. Well, they're not great gaming cards. They never really. There was maybe a time when they were considered good gaming cards, but they were amazing at for productivity stuff. And they were also pretty good at mining Ethereum. They still are good at ETH-hash algorithms. Lamb Tongue, welcome to the stream, buddy. Good to see you guys here. Yeah, for me it's let's see, it's 10 o'clock at night. Not sure what time it is for you guys. Well, it's got to be midnight for you, Philip, I'm thinking. In Texas, probably. Well, Texas spans how many time zones, but I think you'd mentioned you were 2 hours ahead. Yeah, so I'm just adding thermal putty between this black intermediate plate and the cooler, because from factory there's nothing connecting this plate now. This doesn't have to deal with VRAM, this only deals with VRM, but a nice cool stable VRM means it's going to be a more stable overclock, and you know, the card should last through the torture a little bit longer, one would think. Okay, that's, we got those three, so 1, 2, 3, 4 of the small ones, the long one, the medium one, and I think that dot right there, which is that gonna work? Oh, shoot. Yeah, let's put a little dab in there. We'll roll a little ball and call it good. Yeah, HBM is so cool. Ah, okay, 11 p.m. midnight for Lamb Tongue. Right on. Okay, that was literally just right there. Which was fine. Okay. Yeah, that's, I'm going to take these gloves off because I don't want to get putty marks everywhere. And I've got lots of gloves, so I don't mind going through them occasionally. We're gonna flip this around and put it in the cooler. We'll try and carefully get the cables out. if we can. Okay, this is where I can feel that it's in position now. I just need to... So this stuff's going to flex, right? It'll compress and also stick really well. And allow, like, give and take and compensate accordingly. Now this is going to get more compression, probably, when we finish assembling the card. But I'm pretty happy with that. You can see the excess did spill out like we were expecting. I'm just gonna use a little spatula and scrape up the obvious bits. Okay. Usually I try not to touch it too much, but sometimes it just happens. I have more than just one of these cards. And I'm just trying to figure out what we're gonna do. Well, I know what I want to do with them as far as like use, but I'm just trying to figure out what I'm gonna do for putty jobs and stuff. I didn't take any before temperatures on this card. This is not for testing purposes. I opened this one because I wanted to open one, and I did that last night. I wanted to do that off stream just so I could focus on it, because this card's got a lot more going on than well, I think it's got a lot more going on than the other cards I've been dealing with. So, yeah. Like it uses that pad instead of a normal paste, which we're going to use phase change material there instead. We're going to use phase change that measures 0.25. There's two different versions for typical phase change, and there's the 0.2 and the 0.25, but I wanted it to be the thicker one for this card. Because, yeah, I wanted to make sure it would span that gap fully. And it should do that, so it's gonna be good. These are the tiniest little screws. Oh, 12 p.m. It's noon for you. Nice. That makes sense. I feel like you've mentioned that once before, but I can't quite remember. Okay, that one's not going in. I'm not going to force it. This one is going in. This one's raised just ever so slightly. Oh, never going to use AMPM again. Yeah, right? Like, military style time is just so much better. It's like, yeah, okay, that's the time. There's a bit of tension here. I'm not sure why. Both these cords are feeling free. That's all lining up. Well, that's nothing to line up there. It feels good, just that this took a tiny bit of force. Nothing crazy. Yeah. I was considering adding thermal putty to these guys, but I think I'm gonna just leave them. think. Yeah. Let's get this facing the right way. Philip Carroll says, I've had to replace so many Vega blower screws. You order multiple micro screw sets. Yeah, it's good to have lots of screw sets. Probably like 30 little tiny screws inside my coach at this moment. That's just extra cushioning, right? Let's see, I'm just gonna flick the black light on, and hopefully it doesn't, you guys can see I've coated this card in all the spots that I wanted to, just because I did the entire back plate. This is overkill. No one needs to do this, especially when I'm not using any conductive solutions on this card. I did it just because I was having a fun time doing it last night. I don't know. So, yeah, kind of funny. Okay, let's put probably the face change. Oh, let's load up this first, because we are going to take the card and set it down onto here. But this is nice, right? It's really easy to tell where the putty's supposed to go now, because they've got all these little raised areas where the pads go, where the pads were. And we are not going to measure, because we don't need to. Where we're going, we don't need roads. We got thermal putty. Can you imagine, like, opening up an old card? Or if you manage to get a card from, let's say, a different market, a different place in the world where, like Accelerate cards or like colorful cards, you don't get those in North America, but they're plentiful over east, where Lamb Tongue is, I assume. And imagine getting one of those cards and then trying to find thermal pad thicknesses, like in preparation and buying them ahead of time. Because if you take the card apart, right, and if you don't have stuff on hand, then you'd want to have stuff on hand before you pull it apart. And what if all the guides that might exist out there are not in the language that you speak and or can read? I suppose you use like Google Translate a little bit, but there's limitations there, right? Putty just solves all that. Open up a card from 20, 30 years ago, documentation's lost on it, and you can you can replace the pads, no problem. Like, without question, it'll be fine with thermal putty. Now, some people don't like how messy it is, and there are messier putties and cleaner putties. So it just depends which one you pick. So those are not fully round, eh? They're partially flat. You guys can see that? They're not full logs. I'm holding it at an angle, but it's at least the thickness of the pads. It's at least 2 millimeters, which I'm guessing is what the pads were. And it'll press out no problem, so. Yeah, I think that's it for putty. I'm not measuring this right now. If I was smart, I would have weighed these ahead of time. David Jones, welcome to the stream. 5:08 a.m. Good morning, sir. Have you had your coffee yet? or beer or whatever you drink in the morning. Harry Dykstra, you did around 80 HP EliteBook, 850 G6, i5, 8365U laptop, so TCPM. Okay, yeah, the 7125. So that would be the like the 12.5 or 0.12. Trying to think here. 7.1 instead of the 7.2 series. So 0.25 of a millimeter thick, but the 7100 series, I think. I can't remember what the how that all works, but 160 laptops on the shelf remaining. They have a BIOS password which needs to be... Oh my gosh. That is not fun. Hey, that so you're using layered, hey? What I noticed is, because I was testing the layered 7250, and it actually had decent performance, all said and done at the very end of it, but it required... Okay, yeah, okay, I did read it right the first time without, and then I messed up, but so it was 0.125 millimeter. But I found that layered requires a bit of extra temperature, which is fine for laptops, right? Laptop, direct eye, and like auto fan, especially if they're in like quiet mode, they're gonna get to like what, 85, 90 degrees Celsius, maybe 95, some of them, depending on the cooler, especially if you put a load on them. So I think layered is there's I think I was unfairly like criticizing it for the required temperature to melt it. Now, I don't... Excuse me. Sorry, I keep coughing. I'm not sure it would be my first go-to for doing a GPU. Unless you were doing like a bunch of them, but you'd have to keep in mind that you're going to have to load that thing to get to that temperature. Which means you're going to be burning a lot of watts, or... I guess you could control the fan speed like I did, and that works. There's nothing wrong with it, I guess. It's just extra consideration. So, yeah. Where was I here? Let's put on... Well, let's cut a piece of PTM. Not PTM. PCM1. Okay, this is one of the first kits that I got. Pretty sure I bought this one. No, this is not one of the first kits. This is the second style. So this is actually 0.2. Do I have the other stuff close by? Or maybe I mistakenly thought this was that. We're going to use this stuff. It's going to be fine. Okay, that is... We're just going to cut a strip. Yeah. And then, just going to wing it. Okay, this is the piece I've decided to go with. And it's going to... Perfect. There's like an 1/8 of an inch border, so it's going to be within that border, which is what you want. When I was first using this stuff, I was using way too much. So we are going to get another little cotton pad thing here. And we're just going to make sure there's nothing on the core. Yeah, these pads work nice. I'll probably still use Q-tips often enough. But there's nothing wrong with adding a tool to your kit. Only thing is you gotta make sure they don't leave any little hairs. Okay, that looks pretty good. And I'm just gonna get a piece of... I don't need a piece of tape, it'll be fine. It's funny, I wasn't coughing as much earlier. I don't think. Yeah, it's gonna work. And I'm just gonna use my finger. Okay, I think I'll occasionally use a spreader if I really need to work out, you know, bubbles and stuff, but I prefer just using my finger to press down on it. Yeah, it's gonna be good. Because I'm not making any, like, indentations, it remains much flatter this way, I find. This little strip gets here, there, we got those. Oh, that's right, we don't need this one. This one's extra. I'm just gonna scoop that off. Okay, so this card has some missing components. They're not missing, they're just not there. This whole, well, I assume like a power phase or something, it's not there, and same with over here. They were never there, but there was pads there. And we are going to save Putty by just chopping out this little piece here. When in doubt, chop it out. Okay. That's looking not too bad. Now the hard part is going to be... Well, I'll peel that first. But the hard part's going to be connecting those. That stuff peels really nice. Let's get this PCM out of the way so I don't damage it. Harry Dykstra says they are around 80 Celsius full load. The original paste is a mess. Some of them have the original old, let's see what that word is. I gotta scroll BIOS with unlocked undervolt. Yeah, that's nice when you can actually undervolt stuff. When you can't, it's no fun. So what we're going to do is I'm going to hold the card like this, and we are going to try our very best to hook up these connectors. And I might have to do this at a bit of an angle here. Okay. Now, we're going to connect a whole bunch of screws. These ones are, I believe they're the large Phillips. Yeah. I'm just going to do the corner ones first. get everything lined up, and then we'll do the spring bracket, and then we'll go back to doing these screws. We just want to make sure everything's gonna be able to thread together. And for these, it's the finer thread. Yeah, that's cool. There's little plasticky rubber standoffs, and they've cleared the spot on the PCB for them to make contact and apply pressure. We had to go down a screw head size. I don't know, what I usually do for these is I start two corners that are beside each other. Let's do this one. Okay. So these two corners are started. It's not really applying any force, and I'm going to manually push down on both of these at the same time, and then get them rolling. And then I'm going to do the X pattern. Most of you guys probably have nice screwdriver kits, but for anyone out there that's planning on working on GPUs, even just one or a laptop, don't buy the cheapest set of screwdrivers. It's not worth it. I would recommend, I don't know, personally, I would recommend going with iFixit. There's other good kits out there, something similar, or even higher quality. And the smaller the tool, if it's like a single, comfortable in a single hand, right? I'm resting the swivel here, and it's nice. That way your palm is keeping it steady and your fingers can go kind of loose. Okay, we're just... yeah, those ones are done. You don't want to strip them either. Never go too tight. Tiny screws, tiny torque. I should coin that phrase. It's a good one. I think. Alright, and now I'm just going to indiscriminately screw in the rest of these. I'm really not worried about this card warping ever in like a good 50 to 100 years. Maybe if you drove over it, that would be one way. But they don't build cards like this. Not like gaming level, consumer level cards, I don't think. Where there's like all those individual standoffs. Right? If you take this card and a similar 2-slot card, okay, maybe with the exception of the Founders Edition, those have some similar characteristics in a way, but this isn't going to have the same GPU sag. It'll have some, you know, if you don't tighten the two screws here very well. But this thing is built solid, like all these screws with that intermediate plate, everything holding it perfectly flat across the entire surface. And then even the back plate. Let me just show you guys the back plate here. Those are not thermal pads. Those are little rubber standoffs. And this is aluminum. But I'm not going to add anything to the back plate. There's not going to be any gains, I don't think, from doing that. I'm not going to be overclocking this thing to the point where that would be beneficial. So also, it's possible I'm putting in too many screws. I am. Okay. Good to know. Okay, so this one comes out. It goes here. This one comes out. I still have a couple left. I could see that I was going to be running low. So if everything works out with this application, this should be what I consider a excuse me, a bulletproof card. Not literally, but figuratively. Because it's got conformal coating, both sides, for the entire PCB. Basically. Anywhere there was tiny electronics. And it's got putty in between the intermediate plate. What else did we do? All sorts of stuff. I cleaned the fans. I drilled out the backs of the fans. I added my usual blend of the beeswax and mineral oil. Mostly because that's what I know and that's what I've been using. But there are other things that you could probably use to lubricate fans. Philip Carroll says, treat tiny screws and aluminum like cheese. And Cloudyak says, howdy. Howdy, Cloudyak. Hope your day is going well. Mine is going pretty good. Working on a Radeon 7, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there are 5 of those screws. So I'm just going to turn the black light on one more time. That whole thing is coated with a nice single thick coat of conformal coating. So it's pretty water resistant. I made sure I cleaned up the PCI Express connector. And it looks like there we go. Just needed a little bit of extra force. I guess we'll know if I've got the cables all sorted. If the LED turns on or not. That'll be... I'm sure the fans are good. Just a bit of excess coming out the bottom here. And we are gonna just wipe that up. Nice. Yeah. I'm just gonna blow this off just in case anything got on it. I'm not even sure if you guys can hear the air when I turn it on. Hopefully I got my filter set up correctly so it doesn't make that too loud for you. Alright, now we just switch bits here again. I think we're going with Torx 6 or something like that. Can't remember. There's two sizes that kind of fit, but you always go with the snuggest one. Otherwise you'll strip the heads of the screws when you tighten them more than you're supposed to. And you do have to treat it like aluminum, that's right, because even if the screws are metal, they're probably screwing into aluminum. They are for this card, anyways, as far as I can tell. Because that's a cast intermediate plate. 4, 5. Okay, now we've got switching bits again. This is one of the tinier Torx. Or sorry, I think we've got to do... Okay, there's 2. Those are Phillips as well. Medium-sized Phillips. Yeah. Top here. This has a lot of screws in it, but it's a very rigid card. It's a proper actual 2-slot, as opposed to like 2.5, 3, or 4. Okay, now we switch this to... Let's see if this fits. Okay, it does. Perfect. These ones are really tiny. Okay, I think I've actually got... That is the accurate color of that green. That's what it looks like for me. Is what it's showing on my screen anyways. So, that's kind of cool. I just love that this thing's magnetic and just holds them. Or you can grab the screws that way, right off the mat. It's a good tool. Yo, that screw is not doing much. I didn't even feel any feedback from it, but it's not popping out. It's not going to come out or anything. It's just not torquing up. That's okay. It's I'm sure the card will hold. Put a little bit of duct tape on it, I suppose. And I'm just gonna clean up the backing plate a little bit. Excuse me. Just looking at the KPX here. It's being tested right now. We got ambient, average. Ambient's 29. Average GPU temperature 67.8. Oh, sorry. Average GPU ambient temperature is 28.496. 28.6, and we've got GPU temperature 67.8. What is that? Just gonna do the math really quickly on that. Give you guys a sneak peek of its performance. So average GPU 67.8 minus 28.6. Okay. This is like early data, and we'll see what the final like 6th hour says, but right now KPX is 39.2 T delta for the core. No, that's not super accurate data because the first 5-10 minutes of the log will be when I was starting the test, and it was starting off at like cooler temperatures, so that could skew the data a little bit, but it's been running for 4 hours, so it's probably pretty close. Zerpocalypse. Hey, You're not as late as the last one. Welcome to the stream, Sir Apocalypse. Hey, Snark. Unfortunately, a bit late, but wanted to say thanks again for the reply on Reddit. I'll be applying the putty to my 48. Dude, you're applying putty tonight? You're doing a putty job? That's awesome. I mean, I don't know. I always get excited when people start using thermal putty. The more the merrier, right? Team putty. If you run into any issues, you can get, reach me either at Reddit, but better if you actually like run into problems and you need like help faster, email me at snarksdomain@gmail.com and we'll get it figured out together if you run into problems, or and you don't have to use tons. Let me find something here for you guys, because I did a putty job in Ontario, which is another province in Canada where lots of people live. Let's see, let's do this one. I'm just downloading some pictures just so I can show you some of the things you can do for thickness. Download. Downloading 2 items. Okay, here we go. Extract 2 here. Good old 7-zip. I used to use WinRAR, but now I don't. Okay. Let me just double check something here. Okay, we'll close that. Media player. Yeah, okay. Close that. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure, you always have to be careful when you're on stream. You don't want to have stuff go on the screen that you're not supposed to show. We are going to do display capture. Okay. This is a... what is this? This is a gigabyte Oris RTX 3080 Master. Yeah. And that will be a fun teardown for sure for you guys. Yeah, I basically rolled putty on a blue silicone mat. I bought an extra mat and had it shipped there. And then these are really tiny. Those are like, some of those were only 3mm logs. Okay, and even what's on the VRAM, that looks like a lot. It's not. That was thin. Can I go back? How do I go back? Right, it's pressed down. It's already pressed down, so it's not like it's 8mm diameter log or anything. It was a 6mm log pressed out of a syringe, and then my new method for even these clay-like putties, because this was UX Pro I used, and it's like the original UX Pro, so it's pretty stiff stuff. Is now I'm pressing it onto the PCB a little bit. I'm gonna let the reassembly do the final compression, and then I apply a bit of pressure as well once it's fully together. But yeah, that card only used 45 grams. I didn't do anything on the back plate, but so you can make putty go pretty far, and a lot of those were like 2 or 3mm, and then like slightly ovaled and really, well, not 2mm, 3. Some of those were 3, some of them were 4. I just kind of eyeballed it, and honestly it worked. My friend's got good temperatures on his card from what I know, so yeah. And I think that was PCM1 as well. which I cleaned that up and I reapplied a new piece. I had to do it twice. When I assembled it the first time, that's why the card looks dirty, not clean. When I assembled it the first time, a tiny little piece of putty fell off the PCB, and I tried stuffing it in there, and I thought I got it in, but I was like, I can't leave that and not check it, so opened it up again, scooped up all the putty, rolled it all out again. But that's the great thing about putty, you can reuse it. So yeah. But Zerbocalypse, yeah, if you run into issues, you just let me know, and I'll help you out. You got 20 grams of UX Pro, so it'll use sparingly, scaled down compared to 4090. Yeah. Okay, so it's an FE card. Let me open up something from an FE card really quick here. Because I think your card's going to have something similar to previous Gen 3080 that you're going to want to pay attention to. Video projects. Completed 3080 FE. Let me just see here if I could find... Okay, let's just go through a couple of these photos. This is not your card, obviously. This is display capture. This is a 3080 Founders Edition. And you can see, right, they've got those same standoff screws posts like the Radeon VII, which is similar. There's two little... Be very careful when you pull the... I don't know if it's the back plate or if when you're pulling this off. I think it's when you pull this off. There's two little rubber grommets on here. Can I zoom? Yeah, I can see them. Oh yeah. Let's go in all the way. Okay. That's one of them there, I think. I think it's supposed to... And then there's... No. There's a little rubber grommet that sits down on there. They're not there right now. I lost one. It's not fun losing them. Yeah, they would just go where that little post is. So just be really careful when you pull them apart. This is what stock FE pads look like. See that little lattice? That's like Band-Aid mesh. There's like a cloth mesh that is part of the pad. Also, when you're pulling off the back plate... Oops, shoot, sorry. That's not the right one. Did I... Ooh. Here we go. When you're pulling off this plate here... Or sorry, and you have to get those little hidden screws that have those little plastic covers. Once you find those plastic covers, just get some packing tape and press the tape down onto the covers. And I can't see them right now, but they'll just pop right off with tape. Okay, so right here, this really thin flat piece of thermal pad. It's really, really thin, maybe 0.25 of a millimeter. And lots of people that do like thermal pad jobs on this card that are not using putty, they just leave that crappy pad there, and that's I believe that is the VRM for the VRAM. So if you're going to do an overclock on the VRAM at any time, whether you're gaming or mining, it doesn't matter, you know, and you're still using this, I don't know, in my opinion, a low quality thermal pad, and it's covering this area right here, you're not getting any cooling to the back plate. And that's like a fairly large area that's going to benefit, right? This card, sorry, it's not these. This card's going to go flip and then go on top of here. And all the VRAM is on the core side. And on your 4080 it'll be the same. But So the back plate doesn't have to do much, but it needs to do this little bit really well. Otherwise, you won't have memory stability with an overclock. No hidden screws, just magically retained back plate. That's cool. But yeah, that one, I would put just a couple little lines of UX, but you know, it's really thin, so you don't need much. Like, less is more when you're doing this spot here. So there's oil leakage from the original pads. Yeah, I was doing a TGPP10 back then. Okay, that's just video footage. Yeah, I'm not just gonna open up all this stuff, but yeah, so yeah, just give me a shout if you're on issues, and you think they're Fuji poly pads. It might be. Luckily, the 480, and believe it or not, the 4080 VRM is only 5 phases either side. Yeah, that's really? That's it? That's wild. I don't know if I have anything else to show on stream. I changed up my lighting just a little bit, but I'm still waiting on a couple lights to arrive to make it even better. And I got some fancy light diffusion things that are going to go, because I'm so close to the desk. I don't have like big soft lights or soft boxes that a lot of people use, or well, people that are serious about video quality. I'm just getting into video quality, so mine's not great. I'm trying to work on it, but I've got a better camera a couple days away, so yeah, once that gets here, it'll be interesting to see. It'll be 4K, so yeah, hopefully better for you guys. I still need to get a better monitor for myself, but all in due time. Yeah, I'll have to check out that post for the teardown. Thanks, man. I'm trying to make them gradually better. Right now I've just got 2 Razer Kio Pros, and I'm getting a Razer Kio Pro Ultra, which, considering a modest budget, seemed like the best temporary upgrade path. If I later upgrade to like a mirrorless or something, and I'm spending, I don't know, 3 to 5 grand, that's, I think I'm a couple years away, well, at least a few years away from that level. I'm not even monetized yet. Not that that like matters too much, but it would certainly help for like video equipment and stuff. Yeah, that's it for today, guys. Yeah, I got this card. I'm gonna plug it in after this and make sure the fans still spin to the left and the light still shines to the right. But you guys have a great night. I'll post, let's see, I'll be able to post the data tomorrow for the KPX. I'll probably have to stay up for another 2 hours. Ooh. Yeah, I've got to get the GPU test done. I'll start the CPU test. I'll finish that in the morning, and I'll probably apply something else tomorrow. And then I have to go to a job maybe tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, so I'll get better time tomorrow morning. But thanks for tuning in. You guys take care, and I will catch you on the next one. Snarks Domain out. Team Putty.